And good day. Welcome back to the Shadow Gallery. My name is James Donnelly. I'll be your host. And today, we're going to talk comics. Um, as per usual. I'm going to talk a little bit, we're going to talk about this week's comics. Light week, for me, anyway. We're also going to talk about some of the recent developments coming out of Hollywood as far as some of the recent directorial announcements are concerned to some new comic-related films. So first, we're going to start off with the comics. Like I said, it's a very light week for me. Only got 3 books this week, but they're all good. They're all really good. So we're gonna get right to it. So this week we had it's Brubaker week, which is always a good thing for me. So we have first Secret Avengers number 10, which is the finale of the Shang-Chi related arc. The Eyes of the Dragon. And as I've said probably a few times now, Secret Avengers is my favorite Marvel team book. It's just got everything that I want out of, especially out of an Avengers book, too. Because as much as I like Bendis' work on the Avengers, it tends to get a little sparse. It tends to be kind of hit and miss. And Secret Avengers is pretty much always hit. Because it's, Brubaker does a really good job of incorporating unusual characters into his stories. Because, with your regular Avengers and your new Avengers, you've got you got Spider-Man, you got Wolverine, you've got Bucky, Captain America, you've got you got Spider-Woman, you got Ms. Marvel, or Warbird, whatever, and Thor, and so you got the big, Iron Man, you got the big, you got the kind of holy trinity of the Avengers universe here, and this. And Secret Avengers doesn't have any of those names, which is great, for me, anyway, because, like I said, some of these characters, they just get spread too thin, and, this is, it's Steve Rogers running the group, with Sharon Carter as, his kind of, Gal Friday, if you will, Valkyrie, Beast, Beast has been conspicuously absent lately. But Black Widow, Moon Knight, War Machine, Ant-Man, as this team's kind of resident Spider-Man, the comic relief, if you will. Nova, sadly, is no longer, or seems to be no longer really a part of this book, which is kind of a bummer. Because I've always really liked Nova. He's always been really cool to me. But the coolest addition to Secret Adventures is Prince of Orphans, who is one of, from Brubaker and Matt Fraction's run on the Immortal Iron Fist, which is a comic that I loved very dearly before Dwayne Straczynski took it over, and that's not to say that I didn't like Dwayne Straczynski's stuff either. I liked it a lot. It just didn't really do the same for me. It left, there was a hole that it just left. So anyway, you've got some people taking on some other people. You got Cap and Valkyrie taking on John Steele. Cap taking on taking on Max Fury, and everybody else taking on everybody else who's involved with the Shadow Council and Shang-Chi's father. Mike Deodato is such a great artist, particularly for this kind of book. He doesn't lend himself very well to a brightly colored, kind of a John Romita type of Avengers book. Because this is about kind of like the Black Ops Avengers, which is not to say that they're out assassinating people, not by any stretch of the imagination. That's usually what we think of when we associate, when we hear the term Black Ops, we think, dark, black dealings, killers, assassinations, things like that. But these are just, they're the Avengers that got to stay under the radar, and they deal with more, with darker threats. And this is, it's color-wise, color scheme-wise, it's a darker book. And that's what Mike Deodato seems to bring to a lot of his work, is this very kind of dark color palette. And it's just, it's a, again, very entertaining read. A lot of good stuff here. It's, it gives a little bit of a tease as to what's going to happen next. And it's a pretty it's kind of a tall order for what these for what they're going to be looking at next. Which is basically taking Steve back to World War II and his dealings with John Steele, the first American super soldier. So, again, we're really looking forward to what comes out of that. I'm uncertain as to when exactly Brubaker is going to be off this book, and when it's going to be taken over by whoever's coming in next. I can't even remember who it is, but that day will be kind of sad for me, because, it's Brubaker, and pretty much everything he does is kind of, liquid gold. So, anyway, so moving on from there, we've got our next bit, which is Detective Comics 874, which has a really interesting twofold story going on in it. It also, we've got Scott Snyder still writing up. We've got Francesco Francavilla doing the art for this. I don't know if he's taking over for Jock. I don't really mind. I mean, I like Jock's work a lot. But Francavilla, whose work that I was first exposed to, did a really, really fantastic job drawing Dynamite's Zorro series. So his art is really kind of it's kind of Mazzucchelli-esque. It's very minimal. There's not a lot of it's not very liney. It's not very cartoony. It's pretty it's pretty real. Not a lot of overly muscular. It's not out of proportion. And it starts out with what's usually kind of the backstory for these. This usually ends up in the back, and that's the story of Commissioner Gordon and his son James, who's somebody that we haven't really heard about, and the possibility that his son may be a psychopathic killer. And the conversation that they have is just the two of them sitting in a diner, and it's about as tense and dramatic as any of the action, the big action that's going on. But then it moves on to the real action with Dick, with the Dick Grayson Batman teaming up with Tim Drake Red Robin to take down some people, smuggling endangered animals, but also dealing with the after effects of Dick's fight with the Doctor, the guy who's selling all the artifacts. We're coming to the last couple seconds here of this segment, so after the jump, we'll talk more about Detective, okay? So hang around, we'll be right back.